God damn. I could really use a rather potent pick-me-up right about now. And with that, just like a god parting the clouds, a god parted the clouds, and from thou came a voice like smooth gin and tonic. So, no fluff, no preamble, let's puff some of that sweet duck and roll up a banana because Katamari is back, baby! Big rolling, much demolishing, many a kaiju moment, it's all returned. The prince is back at it in order to clean up the grand old king of cosmos' antics, who, once more, annihilated the stars, moon, and just the entire fucking earth, as one does during a Sunday cleaning sesh with the wifey and the sunny. A very nonchalant scenario for a cosmos decimating catalyst, but all the more fitting for the entirely smoothly, funkily vibe of the Katamari. So, what be the narrative this time? Well, it's, let's see here, the 17th verse, same as the first. 6th if we disregard any and all remake masterisms and iOS exclusive titles. But I've never even touched any of those sequels, prequels, iOS quels, or whatever that Hack Attack DSi monstrosity be. So this comes at you from a vacuum of which only this solitary fool exists, with a solitary Katamari Damacy, and reroll if you want to be pedantic. Not because I actively avoided those games, I just didn't know they existed for about 89% of my time on this mortal plane. Therefore, I now have more gloriously innuendo-laden junk to add to the never-ending catalog of titles to play, before I die at midnight, tomorrow. We load in, and within 3 minutes, the King of Cosmos kills every being within the third dimension in a great catalysm that rivals the Big Bang in terms of, oops, my bad, won't happen again, isms. So, as opposed to the OG Damacy's world ventures of going to different locales and areas around the globe making stars out of its hapless residencies and lovely jubbly scattered junk, we instead explore different areas of time and proceed to roll the Katamari around in the exact same ball bounds as games prior. Assumedly, again, I haven't played those games. And that's all. You hop from place to space as the lovely prince in your time machine and solve? No, that's not right. Ah, yes, and each and every one of their problems, qualms, and nonsensical desires in order to restore order to the cosmos and refill that timey-wimey space once more with the destroyed stars, moons, Earth, you know, the little things. And let me tell you, that decimation of society's woes is just an utter joy of a good time that can be, especially whilst playing as the most adorable prince in existence. One does as one has, and just like before, you push the Katamari about through the level, with the analog sticks being as uniquely smoothly as they ever were, rolling up any and every little trinket that fits to the ball before you. You get bigger, pick up bigger trinkets, and fulfill whatever objective the game has laid out before you. I mean, it is Katamari back in the flesh, no denying it. I guess I should also go ahead and say that I'm assuming that you've played, or at least seen Katamari gameplay at some point from this point on, because I don't really feel like explaining the incredible intricacies of push ball, ball pick up, stick ball item 2, big more item timer, repeat, because it rends my heart too much to consider that there are individuals out there that haven't been graced with its just utter splenditude. So if you haven't in any way engaged with the game, what are you doing? Damacy Reroll is on like every modern platform stuck between the couch cushions. Go play it! If you refuse, I may actually have to report you to the UN, as I'm pretty sure not playing Damacy is a violation of the Geneva Conventions. And then, if so inclined, come back and enjoy these ramblings. It'll make my heart rest a little easier, especially knowing I won't have to reveal your transgressions to the higher authority, possibly sending you to the Ministry of Love. Now, just like that Demacia of prior, the baseline stages of Once Upon a Katamari are what would be expected. These typically entail making the Katamari as beefsteakingly plump as can be, with a given meter diameter or number of objects being stuck to you as the metric to beat. These are the game's standard fare stages, but they aren't dull in the slightest. They are chock-fuck full of just some bloody terrific environmental spunk. The ludicrous antics of the average denizens littering the era's area, the vast insanity and variety regarding each individual item you can roll and collect, it really is charming. And on top of that, there are a number of power-ups you can pick up that allow you to suck items in, speed you up, and stop time for a bit. Plus a scanner that can be utilized if you need to find any of the abundance of cousins, crowns, and presents within the stage. In short, there's a whole hell of a lot here. Every stage is filled with charming details from the grand to the minuscule, which just make them an utter joy to explore. Even if the task is ultimately the same in the end. Just roll items up and get bigger. But look, who cares about that? There's a fucking Harvest Moon reference! But don't misinterpret. These standard fare stages actually only make up maybe a rough third of the game. There's actually quite a bit more to the others. Rather, what you'll really be dealing with more often than not are some more curated specific objectives, like rolling sweet treats up without touching the bitters, making a clay statuary, rehydrating a small desert, killing a small suburb, and making the child the average United States American so that he can fit in his birthday armor. Quite a wide range of tasks that I got a kick out of through and through. Furthermore, with each stage and era feeling so distinct and having its own defining characteristics, from an Ice Agean stagian to the Wild West, a Jurassic as all-ass dino-tastic period to the Sea of Pirates, each of the maps and eras were a blast to roll through. Seriously, I enjoyed them all. Some definitely had more to them than others. For instance, I'm pretty sure the Edo period has some 3 or 4 times as many levels as the present day, but honestly, that's all fine and dandy, because I am not playing Katamari to explore and appreciate more of the present day. I already get to appreciate it plenty. Plenty. For most people though, the stages and their tasks aren't the draw of the game, nor is the gameplay. It's probably just the return of that lovely, jubbly, funkily, unique charm the IP is known for. Diorama aesthetic up the walls, a plethora of interstitial animated era cutscenes, and even new in-game, in-level cutscenes that are just, they're adorable. Like, yeah, I know, these cutscenes really are nothing more than just simple, but they are just so goddamn wonderful and funny. On top of that, they do serve a gameplay purpose, if that's what you want, as they let the player know that more has opened up to roll up. With each cutscene, a new event or happenstance occurs, and with that, more knickknacks and tchotchkes are prepped and loaded in. What's even further is, while I do undoubtedly love me some squeezes and shimmies through a tight crevice, or a swift ducking under a rubble that obscures the entire view of the next area, it is rather refreshing to have a game just up and destroy any and all pretense, punching me in the face while boldly exclaiming, "Get excited, bitch! The game be loading! More!" The game knows what I want. They know that I want more, and they don't hide the fact of when they throw in more for me to explore. It's, again, refreshing. To top all this topping off, the game then not only has a popping soundtrack, but one I would describe as entirely heart-stopping and defibrillatingly, repumpingly killer. Plus there's this board game-esque overworld map sprinkled with King of Cosmos gacha machines, interactable knickknacks, and roamable cousins rescued throughout your ventures. And look, I'm even there! Get it? Because I'm gay? But if only Daring June cousin doesn't fit your persona, then you've also got Lanky cousin, Mustachioed cousin, Busty cousin, Horse cousin, Otherworldly Hellspawn cousin, Strawberry cousin. I mean, all your bases are covered, mate. Still, again, if none fit your OC, you can always create your own cousin, outfitting them with whatever tchotchkes you've collected whilst out and about. All this outlining and on top of-ing is to say that Once Upon a Katamari is phenomenal. I I just bloody adore every fiber of its being. In fact, the only fiber that I can even think of that was a little too much was the UI clutter at times. What with the text boxes, item pop-ups, size indication boxes, camera clipping, Katamari itself, power-ups, incoming harm alarm, it can get filled up so much to the point that making out the plane in front of you is nigh impossible. However, I won't lie and say I didn't grow accustomed to it over time, and soon it was just another chaotic element that rolled into the rest of the game's surroundings rather unintrusively. Despite that very minor gripe, like I said, the Maid is beyond a joy to experience. It has so much stuffed into its very core that it actually started to resemble an ever-growing and further spiraling meta Katamari in and of itself, being a perfect allegory for my lack of media literacy and how a through line can be discovered within any piece of media, given you just scrounge through the smattering of shogi tiles across the floor long enough. So yeah, when it comes to Once Upon a Katamari, I downright loved every moment that I spent in its funky, spunky, charming world. I know I keep saying charming, but that's because that's what it is. It is an utter charm of a game. From the calm moments of just rolling tacks up in your Katamari, to the kaiju-esque moments of rolling residents' homes up like this is fucking Disaster Report spin-off City Shrouded in Darkness. And I just had a delightful time. A bloody downright delightful time. More than anything here within though, more than the charm, the spunk, and the funk, this game really is just lovely vibes. Not even your standard spaced out, stone-faced, calm LSD dream emulator vibes. These be the kind shaking the whole core of your being with brazen, bloody blatant declarations of PlayStation 2-ass pseudo GameCube energies. Not the 2000s hyper-realistic grungy side of the PS2 GCN era, but rather the unabashedly sharp, audaciously polygonal, flagrantly flamboyant feelings of higher-budget experimental games released during the time. It rightly extracts and reprojects the original Damacy's Beautiful Joe, Chulip, Chibi Robo, even Metal Gear Solid 2 time and place of development essences, and reintroduces them to a landscape of AAA games struggling to find a foothold in the mound that we call individualism. All of this is a futile attempt to cover up the fact that, yes, this game does have the feared, inlaid nostalgic ties to my past, through the very existence of the original. I can't deny that no matter how hard I try. It did just have me flooding back with the nostalgic feelings of playing through that original Katamari Damacy on my original old dusty PS2, in that old dusty, dingy, dank dungeon of a basement I called home for most of my gameplays. And look, I'm not ashamed to admit that. In fact, that's one of the qualities of it for me, that it took me back there so effectively. I enjoy that it reminds me of that brief yet potent memory of my childhood, yet it doesn't feel as if it's downright fracking and exploiting those memories, smearing it bloody and screaming all over some much-beloved IP or other. Looking at you, Chocobo fucking racing. Okay, it doesn't exist. It doesn't. Oh, fuck, it exists. I guess Once Upon a Katamari really brought me to the question of why. Why do I adore this new blast of the past when I usually detest games that prey on memories of old? What makes this one any different? Well, to be blunt, it's not at all. I don't think Once Upon a Katamari is expressly any different from those other titles that attempt to revive and resuscitate a corpse long thought buried. Rather, what it did make me realize is that I was the one being the asshole in the equation. The creators behind the curtain just wanted to provide that same old vibe Katamari has held and provided since its very beginning, and that's what most other creatives want to do. Why should that desire create an implicit bias against the game? Truth be told that, while I have noticed that I've been growing an, implicit bias towards remakes as of recent, I can't deny that I still loved the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, or the Resident Evil 4 remake. Sonic Mania and hell, System Shock 2024 was my game of the year last year. Is bringing back something so beloved really such a bad thing? In all cases, I don't think it is. As long as original pieces are being made alongside them, I see no problem with bringing back something in spirit or even just brand recognition. So all this is to really say, if fucking Bubsy, feet and all, can make a return as a snarky but tubular uncle in a game of actual charm and quality, then where is my fucking sequel to Beetle Adventure Racing on the N64? Look, EA, I know you've done some heinous shit, but all that can be washed away if, like Need for Speed, Grid, F1 fucking racing, I know you're fucking hiding it, I know it's there, give us the fucking beetle again! I, might need to get my priorities straightened out a bit.